There is a point, about 40 minutes into the almost 2-hour argument which makes up the core of Sam Levinson's Malcolm and Marie, where the toxic romance depicted on screen felt so viscerally familiar that it made me feel physically uncomfortable. And then it happens again, and again. What I'm saying is, if you don't like the idea of a movie putting you back in mind of the worst relationship you have ever had, you might want to give this one a miss. As for me, well, I'm a glutton for punishment. As John David Washington, a director, and his partner Zendaya return home late at night from a successful premiere of his new movie, there is already a weight to the atmosphere which hints at the tumult to come. Malcolm drinks and dances to James Brown while Marie silently stews, making her partner mac and cheese, which will serve as both the spark to ignite the entire evening and the prop by which Washington derives one of the most grotesque scenes of food consumption I have ever seen. Tensions rise, as they often do in arguments such as this, with a throwaway complaint about him failing to thank her in his speech to the attendant crowd, which reveals but a fraction of the iceberg lying beneath. And then we're off to the races. Washington and Zendaya take it in turns to batter one another with scathing critiques, and Levinson clearly keeps score as the two take points off of one another, revealing something of the combative nature of this relationship. And whether it be the director's screenplay itself or the freedom of John David Washington and Zendaya to improvise, the end result captures all of the needling, spiteful pettiness of the kind of drawn-out argument a rotten relationship like this is often defined by. Washington is at his best when he allows Malcolm to truly be abhorrent, confronting Marie with her past problems with addiction and suicidal thoughts as if to say that she owes him her loyalty, or responding to a criticism about the unoriginality of his work, based on Marie's life as it appears to be, by graphically describing former lovers who helped to inform the main character, Imani. He frequently descends into vitriolic diatribes, not just aimed at Marie, but at what he perceives as the tendency of white film critics to view all black art through a political lens, regardless of whether it was the creator's intention or not. Descending into ad hominem attacks on an absent third person when he can no longer bear to argue with the woman he loves. And one gets the sense that these moments of brusque industry critique are as much Levinson speaking as they are the character of Malcolm. And at times it is difficult to escape the sense that these long monologues railing against overeducated and underqualified critics are perhaps a tad spiteful. Yet he deserves credit for leveraging Zendaya's character to rein in his own inflamed indignation, to serve as a more moderate, measured response to his own more impassioned, perhaps more self-indulgent instincts. Where Malcolm angrily rants about how not everything he makes is inherently political simply because he is black, Marie points out that he is making an Angela Davis biopic. Where he insists that interrogation of the art without imposing a socio-political context onto it is what gives cinema much of its mystery, she responds that he works in the most mainstream artistic medium in the world, before going on to suggest that he is just biding his time until he can make a Lego movie and claim that same context he rages against in order to lend the so-called fake films he will inevitably end up making more artistic credibility. In short, that he actually desires the political lens when it suits him. We see through both of these characters a dialogue between two parts of the same mind, Levinson's, struggling to find their footing with one another both emotionally and practically. And although the constant back and forth of long arguments that are essentially monologues, followed by brief, passionate moments of reconciliation, does become somewhat exhausting, it never fully outstays its welcome. This monochromatic exploration of a relationship which really should have fallen apart already is struck through with Levinson's instincts as an auteur, both good and bad. Yet his desire to speak directly to his audience, distracting though it may be, cannot overpower the work of Zendaya and Washington, who really find something in the characters of Malcolm and Marie to keep the movie from descending into self-importance. From the grunting, lip-smacking consumption of macaroni to self-hatred agonizingly masters indifference, this is their show, these characters are their babies, and we are better for it. So, is it good? Yes, but it's kind of hard to watch. Levinson's screenplay and the outstanding performances of Washington and Zendaya realise a broken relationship of the lowest order, and while the swings between meta-analysis / criticism of the movie industry as a whole and the more grounded personal drama is sometimes jarring, it's never boring. Watch it if you're in the mood for seeing two incredibly articulate people have a horribly realistic argument. if you want to see some gorgeous black and white photography, or if you just want to be reminded of awful relationships in your past. I've been Konrad, and I'll see you next time.